रोज खाओ अंडे। Co-powered by Dish HD, cricket का असली partner।
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today, Monday night, start of a brand new week. And guess what? The real World Cup is here. It's come to India. That's right, we'll tell you more. Our newsmakers tonight, HS Pranoy, one of the winners of the Thomas Cup, Prakash Padukone, former world number one, Pulela Gopichand, the national coach, will all be joining us together. It's going to be a special that's coming up in a moment. But first, the 9 headlines at 9. The Hindu side makes sensational claims in the Gyanvapi mosque case. Says a shivling has been found in a survey inside the mosque in Varanasi. The court orders to seal a part of the mosque. The Supreme Court will now hear the Muslim panel's plea to stop the survey tomorrow. Prime Minister Modi's visit to Nepal on Buddha Purnima to build bridges, lays foundation stone for Buddhist center, holds bilateral talks with Nepalese counterpart Sher Bahadur Deoba, says Buddhism will bring the two countries together. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi steps up his attack on the BJP after his party's Chintan Shivir, says the Saffron Party wants to create two Indias, one for the rich and industrialists, the others for Dalits, farmers and underprivileged. He was speaking in Baswada in Rajasthan. National Conference Chief Farooq Abdullah slams the Kashmir file, says the banned the film to save Kashmiri Pandits like Rahul Bhatt, who was killed last week, says the film has made the Pandits into soft targets for terrorists. Filmmaker Avinash Das booked for sharing a picture of Amit Shah with tainted Jharkhand Mining Secretary Pooja Singhal, who was found with crores of rupees. Gujarat police charged Das with forgery. The DGCA issues a show-cause notice to Indigo after the airline staff blocked a specially abled child from boarding an aircraft in Ranchi. Indigo said to file a response. A much-expected relief from the scorching heat wave. The Met Department now predicts early rains and an early monsoon, says monsoon will make an onset over Kerala by the 27th of May. And Sri Lanka's new Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe warns that the nation is down to its last day of petrol. Life-saving drugs go out of stock. Power outages increase to 15 hours a day. And as Sweden and Finland move closer to joining NATO, Russian President Vladimir Putin warns the two nations as any military expansion will warrant a reaction from Russia.
India. They justify being in the final. What an amazing country. The world of badminton.
Now, almost every weeknight, we tend to start the news with stories that depress, from political battles to ancient religious divides to pandemic reports to natural disasters. But this Monday, we think it's a day to celebrate first, because it's only 24 hours after, quite incredibly, India became the world men's badminton champion for the first time. And we thought we should begin tonight by savoring that win a bit more and ask the question, is this the greatest ever team sport win for India? That's right, I was 10 years old when you can see those images. Ajit Pal Singh lifting the Hockey World Cup in 1975, defeating Malaysia and Pakistan. It was a special moment, but remember, we were always an Olympic hockey power. In 1983, India won the Cricket World Cup, the ultimate underdog story under Kapil Dev's leadership, defeating the mighty West Indies. But then cricket is played in only a few countries in the world. Now along comes badminton, played in every country in the world. A sport dominated by the Chinese, the Danes, the Indonesians, the Malaysians. Yet we can now claim that we are truly world champions in a sport. It's a wow moment, a moment like no other, which is why tonight we're going to give you a sense of what this moment means for New India in a way. Let's start by speaking to one of our badminton heroes. I spoke earlier today to HS Pranoy. one of the badminton shuttlers who has done this country proud. Listen to him as he speaks to me from Bangkok. And as India celebrates its historic Thomas Cup triumph, I'm joined by a very special person, one of the newsmakers, one of the heroes. Joining me now, Pranoy Hasina Sunil Kumar, also better known as HS Pranoy, one of the members of this victorious team, joining me from Bangkok. Congratulations, Pranoy. I believe you haven't slept at night.
I managed to get 4 hours of sleep. I think that's good.
Where's the medal? Show us the medal that I believe you you kept the medal around your neck when you went to sleep. Where's the medal?
It's there. Yeah. It's here. It's not going anywhere.
Show it to us.
Yeah. Doesn't it look good?
Ah, there it is.
Yeah.
It looks lovely. It looks lovely. It looks even better when you put it around your neck because you deserve it. You played those 2 crucial fifth match tiebreakers, especially against Denmark. Tell us what all of has it sunk in that you are a world champion? Has it sunk in?
No, not yet really. I think we need a couple of days more to really think that we are the world champions right now. And I think a whole lot of thanks to the entire nation for supporting us all throughout the tournament. And I think a lot of credit goes to our support staff, our physios, our coaches. I think they were the backbone of this team, and they worked extremely hard to get this result. And I think, players, obviously, I think 10 of us, I think we just played our hearts out and hope that this medal changes a lot of things in badminton.
No, of course it will. You know, I believe you set up even a WhatsApp group called It's Coming Home. Tell us about that. You set up a WhatsApp group even before the final to inspire the entire team.
We had this WhatsApp group set up just after the team was decided for the Thomas Cup. So probably around 12-13 days back, we had this group created. I created the group. I said we need separately a group where only we 10 of us are there, and so that we can have all the open conversations regarding this event. And it just definitely helped us get this title because everybody was so free to say anything on the group and discuss whatever they want to do. So, and the name was It's Coming Home, and I'm glad that the Thomas Cup is actually home now.
So everything was about the team, right, Pranoy? That's the big difference. All of you have done well individually at different events, but this was about the team, about building team, about team building all the time. That was the mindset. Let's win it as a team.
Yes, definitely. I think 95% of the times we are playing individual events. We get to play these kind of events very less, and so we don't have that kind of a culture or where we bond very quickly. We need time, and that as senior players like me and Srikanth, we know that, and we knew that we need to get this this bonding as quickly as possible. So that's why we started off with this group thing for the first place, and because it was really important to have that good positive vibes around you, and to actually have an open conversation about each day and each day's performance. And everything started to fall in place once we came here, and I think there was a lot of energy in the team, and everybody wanted this to happen for India, because we knew we never played well in the team events, and we never had a good history in team events, and we wanted to change it because we wanted everyone to be scared of us. Right. I think we wanted everybody to know that we are say the world beaters, and I can't be more happier that this happened last night, and all credits to everyone, because everyone stepped up at the right time, and everyone, whenever they had to deliver a performance, I think they just bang on performing on that particular day. So I mean, too good to be in this team.
So how did you celebrate once you knew you were world champion? What did you do? The Indian cricket team, when they won the World Cup in '83, they took the champagne bottles from the West Indies and celebrated all night. What did you all drink?
We didn't drink anything as such, but then we had a very good dinner last night, and but we are hoping we'll have a big party soon. I think after a week's time when we are back home, I think everybody will have a great party, and I think we actually need it. I think we are badly due for a great party.
So, of course, you deserve a big party, but all team dinners, right through all of you going out together in Bangkok, staying together, doing everything together. So, was it everything as a team, whether it was going out to dinner, practicing the team concept all the time?
Yes, I think most of the times we were doing that because certain times it was tough to have a team dinner because somebody would be having a treatment session or somebody would be having a gym. So, but we were making sure that max to max we can have a lot of team dinners, and especially in practice session also. I remember the day before the final we had an off day, but not everybody was going to train that day, but we made it sure that everybody is there on the practice courts, even if you're not playing. We'll have to be there. We have to be in that atmosphere, and I think all these small things makes big difference, huge difference in a team event. And I think,
Because, I think that's the one big change that, all of you were seen supporting each other at all times. I remember in that fifth match against Denmark, you were injured after the first game. Where did that strength come from to recover after being injured in the first game to win in 3? That must have taken a lot of self-motivation. What was the mindset?
yes, I think the things are not going great that day in the first game, and after getting injured, I had a lot of self-doubts and questions coming into my mind. But I was thinking, this I need to do it for the entire country, the entire team, because they believe in me. They want me to do this, and I knew how big this match is going to be, because I know if we reach the finals, then anybody can win the finals. And I just told myself that I'm just not going to give up. Whatever the situations are, there might be pain, and I've played with much worse pains in my past. So I think that gave a lot of confidence to me, saying that this I can really pull off. And I think mentally I was really strong that day. I was really focused, and I was not really thinking about any other thing rather than just to win that match, because I knew how important that was for the entire squad. And because they were cheering like mad, and I'm sure that you must have seen that on the TV, where I think each and everyone were really involved in that dugout.
Sure.
And I think that gave a lot of energy to me.
In a sense, that's what I've noticed: the team spirit, the self-belief, the fearlessness. Even yesterday, Laksh coming back from losing the first game against Ginteng, then you had the doubles team was 4 match points down, still wins. So there seems to be a fearlessness, self-belief. Where does that come from? You are the fearless generation of Indian sport. Nothing seems to. Y'all are not afraid of the Danes, not afraid of the Indonesians, not the Malaysians, right?
Yeah, I think it's high time that rest of the world fears us. I think we as nation, we need to step up, and I think that's what we all 10 did here. And we from the start of the first day of the tournament, we said we just need to project ourselves outside, saying that we are not going to we are not here to just play, we are here to win. And I think that kind of a body language changed entire things in this Thomas Cup for us, where the body language, if you can see Chirag, Satvik, Shrikant, me, myself, I think Lakshya also, I think, stepped up at the right time. He had tough matches the starting. Obviously, he's been playing against the world's best because he's first singles. So, but yesterday's match was so crucial, and he wanted to win it so badly, and I think he stepped up at the right time. All credits to him, and I think that's what we were never afraid of anyone over here, and that's what we wanted to prove and to tell our next generation, saying that, guys, this is very much possible. if you dream, if you think this is going to happen, this is just going to happen. You just need to believe. So I think this is just something else for us here.
Is this is this the new India aggression? You know, you come from a small town, if I can call Tiruvananthapuram a small town, and you went to Hyderabad, and I've often seen it with the small town kids, fire in the belly. Whether it's Mahendra Singh Dhoni on the cricket field, or it's HS Pranoy, Shrikant, Laksh Sen, Chirag and Satwik on the badminton court. Is there fire in the belly? Ki karna hai, kuch bhi ho, jeetna hai, you have to win.
Yeah, I think this was the same exact dialogue in our team huddle also. Like, karna hai, is par jeetna hai. I mean, there is nothing lesser than that, is what we were telling from the first day, saying that इस बार तो जीतना है, मतलब कुछ भी हो इस बार तो जीतना है. And the aggression shown on the court, and I'm sure you must have not seen Shrikant play in this mentality and in this passion for the last 5 to 6 years. I've not seen him so aggressive, so passionate, and I mean, he was in that mood after so many years, and that gave a lot of energy to the entire, I think, to the team. I mean, the youngsters were looking at him, and he was like saying, we need to win this for everyone. And I think these kind of individual performances gives that spark. And I think as senior players, it's our duty to do this, and we need to create this atmosphere, because this atmosphere, we are not used to have this atmosphere as such, because we play an individual event 95% of the time. So we need to create this atmosphere when it comes to team event.
Right.
If you create this atmosphere, I'm saying nothing is impossible. We can just take on anyone on this world, and we actually can beat anyone.
You know, that's a terrific attitude, because we've seen it with Neeraj Chopra when he won with his an Olympic gold at the javelin, and now you guys have done it in a team sport. Karna hai, kuch bhi karo, karo ya maro on the badminton court, which was seemed to be the attitude, do or die. But I must ask you, what are you going to do when you come back to India? What's the first thing you want to do? What's the first thing you want to do when you land in India?
I haven't thought about it, but then we were thinking we 10 of us need to just go and party somewhere really hard for a day or two, because I think we deserve it. I think we put a lot of effort this 1 week, and I think the happiness which that gave, I'm just telling you, I just can't explain.
I believe Pranoy, I believe badminton players are very good dancers. Is that true? PV Sindhu is a good dancer, I'm told, on the women's side. And I'm told you're also a very good dancer.
No, I'm not really a good dancer, but we have a lot of good dancers in the team. So the videos are pretty much secret videos, though. So.
That's fantastic. So you're going to have a party. You'll probably have your favorite food. What is a badminton champion, world badminton champion's favorite food? What is it that you're missing there in Thailand that you need to have at home?
That I don't know. Obviously, I think a good Indian food is obviously everybody who is, I think, missing in the team. Everybody wanted to have a good dinner, because yesterday before the final, we went for an Indian dinner together. But that was one of the most what do you say, the biggest tragedy which happened to us over here in Thailand. We went to the worst restaurant possible in the world to have an Indian food. So I think we would love to have something, a good Indian food, so that everybody would be happy.
You want to give you want to dedicate this award, this Thomas Cup win, to someone? Do you want to dedicate? Who do you want to dedicate this win to?
I think this win is definitely for the next generation. I would say the next men's batch. I would say, especially with the men's batch, they needed this kind of a performance out there, a belief saying that if these guys can do, we can also do, and that's what was missing or lacking in the last few years. And we always used to come for these events saying, will we be able to cross the group stage? Will we be able to cross the quarterfinal stage? So that kind of a doubt should not come back again. And as I said, everybody should be feared of us. And I think this is just the start. We need to build on this and start creating more champions, so that in the next 10 years you will get to see two or three more Thomas Cups coming to India, and that cup staying in Delhi itself for a long time.
No, that'll be fantastic. That's great. You're, in a way, you are the torch bearers who are going to hand over the torch to the next generation. But no one will ever forget this day. In a way, this is one of the most remarkable days in Indian sport. Sunday was one of the most remarkable days, winning this Thomas Cup. I want to know the medal. You're going to keep it around your neck all over before you come to India. Show it to us once more. Need to see that medal. Lovely.
Thank you very much.
Great. Good to keep that medal around your neck. You deserve it. So do all your team members. Enjoy and have a party to beat all parties when you come back to India. HS Pranoy, you've done the country proud. You've done your parents and this country proud. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah.
HS Pranoy there. Now look, what does this win mean for Indian sport in a cricket crazy country? Are we now finally moving well beyond cricket? Olympic gold medal for Neeraj Chopra, now this Thomas Cup win. Well, I spoke to two legends of the sport, brought them together. Pulela Gopichand, Chief National Coach, and the one and only Prakash Padukone, the original world number one. Listen in to the two greats. Team India scales what is arguably the greatest ever achievement by an Indian sporting team, winning the Thomas Cup. I'm joined by the two legends of Indian sport, the original master, Prakash Padukone, who really paved the way for generations of players, and Pulela Gopichand, himself an All-England champion, and of course the Chief National Coach. Both of you All-England champions at different generations. Such a pleasure and privilege to have you on this very special occasion. Prakash Padukone, you first. You were in the team that reached the semi-finals of bronze in 79. 44 years or 43 years later, we won the gold, the Thomas Cup. Did you ever imagine in your wildest dreams that this day could come, that India would be the world champion in badminton one day, sir?
I was confident it might happen after 8 to 10 years because I think we were always weak in paired events, and we were producing one odd players at a time. So while we won the individual event like the All England or the World Championships, I never thought as a team that we would win, and that too so early. I think full credit to the team. So it definitely not a flash in the pan because they've beaten all the top countries. It's not just one country. Earlier I think we've beaten Malaysia but then lost to Denmark. We've never beaten two countries in the same event.
Pulela Gopichand, you were sort of more involved with the team. Many of the players you coach in your academy. This must be a very special moment for you, Gopi.
Of course it is. I think as a badminton player, as a sports person, as an Indian, I think this is huge. I think to have something like a Thomas Cup winning is something enormous for sport itself and badminton in particular. And I echo what Prakash sir has said. I think we all knew in some sense the calculations were there that if we could do this, but actually to have all of them play to their best, to their potential, and to actually pull out those 50-50 matches onto our side consistently over a quarterfinals, semi-finals and a finals, I think this really is like a dream run for the Indian team.
For our viewers, we must know that this is a game which in a way was invented in India, was once called Pune, played by the British in Pune and originally called Pune. So there's a deep Indian connection. But you're right, the academies have made a huge difference. Laksh comes from Almora. You've got Shrikant, who comes, I think, from Guntur. Gopi, you brought him to Hyderabad. Laksh came to Bangalore. But Gopi, this academy culture, waking up all these kids at 4:30, 5:30, presumably that's made a huge difference. I read a piece by you today where you said you barely had 2 Yonex rackets when you went to tournaments at that time. Now presumably sponsorship is there, training, coaching is there. How much of a difference has that made, Gopi?
I think overall, the general spirit of sport in the country across sports has actually been very good. I think, as Prakash sir said, I think 2010 Commonwealth Games was the beginning of the kind of support. And 2012 Olympics was also kind of a moment where Indian population generally looked at Olympic sport as something, or an Olympic medal as something achievable. And in general, the number of people playing the sport, the number of kids believing, or the parents believing that their kids can actually take this up as a career actually has grown. And post that, I think the overall sentiment of sport has grown. The confidence um, in the sport has grown, and today we are seeing those results come by.
I'm likening it to three events: 1975 Hockey World Cup, 83 Cricket World Cup, and now Thomas Cup. But you called it the real World Cup. What do you mean by the real World Cup, Gopi?
I think I'll let people imagine it. But for me, I think this stuff is real. I'm not suggesting that the others aren't, but I think this for me is in a football sense, winning the Football World Cup. I think this is as big as it gets. And I could be biased towards badminton, but so be it. For me, this is like winning the Football World Cup.
And you think, Gopi, this will encourage children across the country, not just in Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh, but across the country to now gravitate towards badminton? Are you seeing more and more kids who want to play badminton before any other sport?
I think definitely today, as the number of courts across the country have grown up hugely, the number of players playing the sport. I think just a reference, Rajdeep, we actually have in each of our domestic tournaments at 13, 15, 17 levels, we almost have 2,000 to 3,000 entries at the domestic tournament level. And this numbers used to be in 2 digits till a few years back. And I think that number growing is a huge, and not only that, when I was playing, maybe there were 30 or 50 odd people in the country who play decent badminton. But today you go to an under 13 event and you'll be surprised at the level which the kids play. So the talent is huge, the talent is deep and wide. And I think it's only up to us how well we can harness it.
You know, Prakash Padukone, you were all, today's Indians know you as Deepika's father. My generation knows you as the one and only Prakash Padukone. How would you like to be seen after today's Thomas Cup victory as someone who handed over the baton to the next generation? How would Prakash Padukone like to see this victory in the context of all that you achieved when you were playing the game?
Maybe, the journey which I started probably has ended here. No, I don't want it to end here, but culminated in this, in this victory. I think 1980, was of course, an individual achievement, but in terms of team, in teams, team sport, it couldn't have got bigger than this. Like we said, we've always had individual players. Right from the 60s, just one player doing well at a time. Then it was 2 players. Then, maybe it was 3 singles players, or 3 or 4 or 5, 6 good singles players, but weak in doubles. So I think it's been a gradual process. So which goes to show that, again, I would like to emphasize that, there is a lot of talent, like Gopi said, the number of players, if we used to conduct all the 13, 15, 17, 19, events together, in one place. But now if we do that, I think to combine total, it won't be an exaggeration. It will be about 10,000 entries if we were to do 13, 15, 17, 19 events together, both boys and girls together. So no way we can, conduct. So it has to be split. The under 13 they do separately, 15 and 17 they do separately, under 19 they do separately. So this goes to show the popularity of the sport. And when the numbers increase at the bottom of the pyramid, there's bound to be, more competition and, better results at the top. So I think that is what has happened. So I think we are on the right track. I don't, there won't be any looking back. even if somebody wants to. But because I think we are on the right track.
You're being very modest about your achievements, and both of you have always been very modest. What is it about badminton and Indians? We have all the skill sets, that perhaps you require for badminton much more than perhaps in tennis, which requires more power and aggression at times. But is there something that makes badminton players more modest and people who can give back so much to the game, like both Prakash and Gopi Chand have? Prakash ji, is there something that makes badminton players so modest, or is it simply the weather in Bangalore and Hyderabad that makes both of you such modest people, despite all your remarkable achievements?
No, not really. I think generally people from the south are, more modest. Nothing to take away from, people from elsewhere. But I don't think we make an effort, to be modest. It just comes naturally to us.
So I'll ask you both in conclusion, how did you celebrate? Both of you are teetotalers, presumably. Gopi, how did you celebrate first?
I think we've actually, with the family, at the academy, every batch had a separate celebration by itself. And I think we continued to celebrate. Yesterday was very busy with the talking to the people. But I think these celebrations will go on for a while.
So when the players come back, will you then, there'll be another celebration, is it, Gopi?
Once the team is back, we're definitely going to celebrate.
So how do badminton players celebrate, Gopi? Cricketers pop champagne. When Kapil Dev won the 83 World Cup, he says he went and took a whole basket he took the entire champagne bottles from the West Indies dressing room and they popped bottles of champagne. How do badminton players celebrate, Gopi?
I think many of them, it seems like, love to dance as well. But Indian food seems to be the trick for many of them. Unfortunately, that's where much of it ends also.
And Prakash sir, you want to tell me how you celebrated?
Well, I think we had a very quiet dinner. I had a very quiet dinner with my wife. We went to a golf club and had dinner. No celebration. And we've not gone out anywhere. But I think we were glued to the TV, right from, I got ready half an hour earlier. Of late, I have not been, following every tournament, but, this one I was really looking forward, got ready. And, I think I've not done that for maybe almost 10 years now. But I think it was worth. And so once the matches got over, we just went and had a quiet dinner, a family dinner.
Prakash, Prakash sir, that maybe you would also pop a bottle of champagne at home.
No, I also don't drink. I had normally I have one fresh lime soda. Yesterday I had two, so that is celebration for me.
Two fresh lime sodas for one. Gopi, you're a very strict disciplinarian. I think when Sindhu won her Olympic medal, you allowed her some ice cream only after she had won the medal. So are you going to sort of allow the Shrikants and the Satviks to sort of indulge themselves or not?
I think Satvik will love his biryani. I think that's where he is. Shrikant will love his potatoes and the fried eggs and chicken at the academy. So they've got all their favorites, foods, so much. But I think what they've done, I know really truly deserves celebration. The one unfortunate reality of badminton is that they actually start off tomorrow with another tournament in Thailand, and they have to prepare and get back and play that. So it actually, I wish we had a 15-day break where we could actually roam around the country, celebrate in each part, and actually do the things which they really wanted to. But I think they have too many tournaments and too many things to do. So it will be small celebrations and preparations again.
Both of you, in a sense, represent the best of Indian sport. You have been great ambassadors to the sport, not only with your individual achievements on the court, but what you've done with your academies. The Padukone Academy in Bangalore, the Gopi Chand Academy in Hyderabad. You have transformed the sport, given back even more than perhaps what the sport gave you. And for that alone, Gopi Chand and Prakash Padukone, this nation owes you a huge debt. I can tell you I was emotional yesterday. I was in tears when the tricolour went up, and so were millions of Indians. So thank you, Pulela Gopichan, and thank you, Prakash Padukone, for all that you've done for Indian sport and Indian badminton. You've made us very proud, as has this great Indian team. So thank you, and maybe next time, instead of fresh lime soda, you can try something stronger.
Sure, Rajdeep. Thank you so much. Nice talking.
Prakash sir will say an extra line.
Thank you, Pulela. You can also have a little bit of extra lime. Yeah, you can put a little bit of extra lime. Thank you both very much for joining me on this very special show. The sweetest, nicest thing I've heard in a long time, only an extra fresh lime soda to celebrate arguably India's greatest team sport win ever. That's why we made it our top story on a day. But let's turn from there to the top political story of the day. And it comes on the occasion of Buddha Purnima, from Prime Minister Modi reaching out to long-time ally Nepal. The Prime Minister visited the birthplace of Buddha in Lumbini and stressed how India shares this deep religious and cultural ties with Nepal. The Prime Minister's visit comes at a time when Beijing is attempting to further its foothold in the Himalayan kingdom. Take a look at what happened.
A power-packed day-long visit to Nepal. From Buddha to cultural heritage to deepening ties. India's neighbourhoods first policy on display. On the occasion of Buddha Purnima, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Nepal on Monday. He offered prayers at the sacred Maya Devi temple in Lumbini, one of the holiest places of Buddhism, as Lord Buddha was born there. While Lumbini was Prince Siddhartha's Janmabhoomi, India was his Karmabhoomi, where he became Buddha, the Enlightened One. Prime Minister stressed the shared spiritual and cultural ties that bind the two countries.
बुद्ध मानवता के सामूहिक बोध का अवतरण है। बुद्ध बोध भी है और बुद्ध शोध भी है। बुद्ध विचार भी है और बुद्ध संस्कार भी है।
India and Nepal agreed in principle to establish sister city relations between Lumbini and Kushinagar in Uttar Pradesh, where Buddha took his last breath. Prime Minister Modi also held bilateral talks with Nepal Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba. The two countries signed 6 MOUs on expanding cooperation in areas such as hydropower, development and connectivity.
हमारी सरकारों ने भैरवा और सोनौली में इंटीग्रेटेड चेक पोस्ट बनाने जैसे फैसले भी लिए हैं। इसका काम भी शुरू हो गया है। ये पोस्ट बनने के बाद बॉर्डर पर लोगों के आवागमन के लिए सुविधा बढ़ेगी। इससे व्यापार और जरूरी चीजों के ट्रांसपोर्टेशन को भी गति मिलेगी। भारत और नेपाल दोनों ही देशों के बीच मिलकर के काम करने के लिए ऐसी अपार संभावनाएं हैं।
Nepal Prime Minister Deuba hosted a lunch in honor of Prime Minister Modi and the members of the Indian delegation following the bilateral talks. It was Prime Minister Modi's 5th visit to Nepal since he took over office in 2014. Despite the close linguistic, religious and cultural ties at the people-to-people level between India and Nepal, Kathmandu at times has been warming up to China. Prime Minister Modi's visit is an outreach to a long-time ally. Bureau Report, India Today.
So can we say that Nepal is still India's most trusted neighbor? How do you counter China's bid in particular to influence Nepal? Joining me now is Kanakmani Dixit, editor of Himal and one of Nepal's most distinguished credible journalists. Joining me also Rakesh Sood, former Indian ambassador to Nepal. Appreciate both of you joining us. Kanakmani Dixit, this visit, the 5th visit of the Indian Prime Minister, but came at a time when there is an urgent need to reset India-Nepal ties after all that has happened in the last couple of years. Do you believe that the Prime Minister's visit goes a long way to doing that?
The trip is very important, as all trips are bilateral between neighbors, Rajdeep. And the issues that have cropped up between Nepal and India go a bit further back than 2 years. It goes back to the blockade of 2015, and it goes also back to the fact that 2 years ago, a huge border problem has arisen between Nepal and India. So this trip was important as a visit of a prime minister to another country, Indian prime minister to Nepal. However, I believe from the readouts that I have seen, the crucial issues, which we can come into later if there is time, that have risen up like a canker between Nepal and India, which cannot be wished away. There can be good optics for both prime ministers on a visit like this. After all, to the birthplace of Lord Buddha, a 6-hour trip by the Prime Minister of India. Good on optics, but I do believe that beyond making sure that the two prime ministers have established a camaraderie meeting over 3 times during the last 7-8 months, all that is good, but will they even in private get to the issues that really are a problem between the two countries?
Which, according to you, is it the territorial dispute, which is, according to you, the primary sticking point?
Absolutely. It has come up. The triangle northwest of Nepal, which is claimed by Nepal, India is building a road up to the pass, and this is acknowledged as a bilateral issue. There has to be discussions and talk, but this is completely ignored. Whereas I can tell you, I can assure you that the growth of Nepal-India relationship now requires resolving this issue, and this does not mean resolving it on the side of any one side. Have open talks. Be open and ready for talks. But the Nepal government itself doesn't seem to be too in a rush to propose that this issue be tackled. But I do believe countries as close as Nepal and India cannot let this canker remain.
Let me take that to you, Rakesh Sood. Beyond the optics, do you believe that there are real issues between India and Nepal that remain unresolved, the territorial dispute being one of them, plus the growing China presence, especially economically in Nepal?
Well, yes, Rajdeep. There are issues that need to be resolved between India and Nepal because, unfortunately, Nepali nationalism, most often than not, takes the form of anti-Indianism. And anti-Indianism is then used as a stick to beat India. I've seen this again and again. Even innocent statements are often taken out of context. Indian films, at times, there was a question that was raised in one of the Indian films. Maybe, unless you're a film buff, you won't even remember it, called Chandni Chowk to China. And there was this comment about Buddha was born in India. And cinema halls in Nepal were burnt because they thought that India was claiming Lumbini. Now, the fact that this film made by some Bollywood, made in Bollywood, had this comment, need not have given rise to these kind of resentments. But yes, what happens is that very often, as I said, Nepali nationalism takes the form of anti-Indianism. Insofar as point about the boundary is concerned,
yes, go ahead.
I'm afraid officials are going to be unable to talk about it because this is something that has been a lasting legacy of the Oli government. The Oli government made it a constitutional amendment, adopted it, and has put it in the flag of Nepal. So therefore, how is a Nepali foreign secretary supposed to negotiate with an Indian foreign secretary about the territorial boundary of his country, which has been adopted by parliament? I mean, it just beats imagination. So I'm afraid this is something that is going to require political resolution and not official talks.
So, in a way, you're pointing out to the difficulties that lie, but do the optics work? Mr. Modi has gone there for the fifth time in the last 7 years. Are optics enough, or is that a limitation in a way of a very personalized style of diplomacy?
Well, you see, Prime Minister Modi made 2 visits in 2014. His first visit was an enormously successful visit. His second visit was for the SAARC summit.
Yes.
After that, we had a lot of downturns in the India relationship with Nepal. We had the 2015 constitution adoption. After that, there was what Nepal accused India of a blockade. And then there was a slowdown in the relationship. After that, the visits took place in 2018. So in 2018, Prime Minister Modi made a bilateral visit after KP Oli had visited India earlier. And then he visited again a couple of months later for a BIMSTEC summit meeting. Then thereafter has been this Kalapani, the territorial dispute at the Lipulekh Pass and Kalapani and all that, where Nepal introduced new maps after India introduced new maps. And then Nepal proceeded to make that into a constitutional amendment and change its own territorial boundaries and maps. So therefore,
so optics.
This now is a new beginning. Prime Minister Modi has gone to Lumbini. In fact, in 2014, in his very first visit, he had said that he would like to visit Muktinath, which is a Vishnu temple, Janakpur, obviously Sita's birthplace, and Lumbini. Now, he did the first 2 that I mentioned in 2018. He wasn't able to do Lumbini. So I think he has completed his pilgrimage part of it. Whether we are going to see concrete movements towards issues like the territorial issue or another difficult issue, namely the 1950 Peace and Friendship Treaty between India and Nepal, which also is seen as a bit of a wrinkle in the relationship. Whether these can be resolved and how these can be resolved are going to be issues that we will have to look for in times to come.
Let me leave it there. Clearly, the limitations of optics. I wish we had more time. Unfortunately, we spent more time today celebrating India's victory in the Thomas Cup. So, Kanakmani Dikshit, Rakesh Sood, hopefully we can have a more extended discussion on not just Nepal, but issues concerning South Asia in the days ahead. I appreciate, though, both of you joining us. Let me take a break. On the other side is our continuous coverage of the crisis of our times, the water emergency that still is a problem in several parts of the country this summer. We'll be traveling today to Gujarat's Mehsana district. You're watching the news today. News without the noise.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com or call 9999892171.
According to a bombshell leaked draft, the American Supreme Court is poised to strike down the right to abortion in the United States. So how does the American Supreme Court function? The United States Supreme Court is the highest federal court in the land and the final court of appeal. Its job is to ensure that the promise of equal justice for all Americans under the law is upheld. To that end, it is the guardian and interpreter of the US Constitution. The Supreme Court was created in 1789. Since 1935, its home has been a 4-story classical building made of American marble and oak located on Capitol Hill in Washington. Its seal is similar to the Great Seal of the United States, except that it has a single star beneath the Eagles clause. This symbolizes the Constitution's creation of one Supreme Court. 9 judges, referred to as justices, sit on the court. They hold office for as long as they wish, although they can be removed by impeachment. The Supreme Court is steeped in tradition. While in court, justices wear black robes, white quills are placed on council tables each day that the court sits. A black curtain is hung over the courtroom doors as a sign of respect and mourning following the death of a justice. And each day, justices shake hands to remind that harmony of purpose overrides differences of opinion. However, there can be substantial ideological differences and disagreements between them, which may be expressed through a written statement or opinion.
Welcome back. Now, we started the program today with a feel-good story of India's remarkable victory to become world badminton champions. But we are ending it with a story that tells you that even in New India, there are crises from the old that will continue to haunt. Across the country, or several parts of North and Western India, at the moment, there is a major water emergency in rural India. This is a focus that we are building on. Today we travel to Gujarat's Mehsana, where from children to adults to the elderly, especially women, everyone continues to wait for hours in long queues, travels kilometers to fetch water. In fact, the people of Mehsana have now decided to boycott the Gujarat polls, they say, if they don't get water. Polls take place later this year. Gopi Gangar today brings you tonight's ground report from Mehsana. You take a look at it. Stay well, stay safe. Good night. Goodbye. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
पानी कितने टाइम से नहीं आ रहा है यहाँ पे? 3 महीने से नहीं आ रहा है.
Long queues, scorching heat, and thousands thirsting for water. People of Gujarat's Mehsana wait for hours for a drop of water as a heat wave sweeps the state. The acute water shortage has spared no one. The search for water is the common pursuit for all in these parts. This 7-year-old spends most of her time with her mother and siblings fetching water.
बहुत परेशान है. देखो पानी ये ढोरों को पिलाने से बहुत परेशान होते हैं, हमें पीने से बहुत परेशान होते हैं. हम कहाँ से पानी लाए? हमारे इतने आजू बाजू कहाँ है पानी आता नहीं, हम कहाँ से लाए?
People of villages in Mehsana's Kheralu Tehsil have now decided to skip the Gujarat elections. The villagers say they have been suffering water scarcity for the last 20 years. Villages have put up banners announcing boycotting of coming assembly elections. The banners say all political leaders are forbidden from seeking votes.
यहाँ पर पानी की मुसीबत बहुत ज्यादा है. कितने दिनों पे पानी आता है? पानी लगभग 3-4 दिनों में एक बार आता है. घर के काम के लिए भी बहुत सारा पानी, बहुत दूर दूर से पानी उछल के लाना पड़ता है. आप देख सकते हैं ये बुजुर्ग अम्मा है. ये अम्मा इस तरीके से पानी थोड़ा थोड़ा पानी अपने घर लेके जाती है क्योंकि उठा नहीं सकती है. कितनी मुश्किल पड़े, कितने घरे कितना लोग को
मुश्किल पड़ा. 5-6 जन છીએ. બહુ કરીએ લાવવું પડે છે પીવા માટે दूर दूर થી.
कितने किलोमीटर चल के जाना पड़ता है? टैंकर आता है कितने दिनों पे आता है?
10 किलोमीटर जाते हैं पानी भरवा. टैंकर भी आती है, पैसे खर्चते थे.
हमारे तालुका में धरोई डैम है और नर्मदा की भी लाइन है. सरकार जो इरादा रखे देने की तो 100% पानी दे सकती है, लेकिन हमारा ये पानी का समस्या हल नहीं करती.
The state government says it has allocated 250 crores for a project to provide water to more than 40 villages of Mehsana.
44 गांव का जो प्रॉब्लम है पानी की, उसको सॉल्व करने के लिए राज्य सरकार ने ऑलरेडी 250 करोड़ की लागत से एक पानी पुरवठा योजना के लिए शुभारंभ कर दिया है और ये मंजूरी मिल गई है, जिससे इस एरिया के 44 गांव जो हैं उनको पानी से राहत मिलेगी।
Gujarat has been receiving very little or no rainfall since 2018, leading to acute water scarcity, particularly in the villages. People of Keralu Tehsil, now tired of waiting, are using their vote as a bargaining tool to get their basic need: water to drink. Bureau Report, India Today.
I believe that's our responsibility because I found it a way to give it back to the startup ecosystem, and we have to grow that ecosystem. At our stage, when we meet founders, I think mostly it's not about product and idea. It's about where he's coming from, what's his strength, how motivated he is for his startup, how clearly he's thinking about that, how he's articulating the problem statement. What kind of big is he thinking about some feature or a product as a capability? How big the TAM is? I think if you summarize it, it's mostly about we see the founder quality at our stage. Because if you increase the Series A, Series B, Series C, then definitely business proportion start increasing. In Series A, some idea and then founder. We have our sector hypothesis. Hey, this is commerce, supply chain, or education tech. In that, then we see that, hey, this guy, what's his background? What problem statement he's bringing up? How big that it is? So those definitely will listen. I'm not saying that only founder. No, there is an idea and sector also we go through. And in that, definitely we ask those relevant questions. Who are your competitor? Why you think you will build these capabilities? All those answer has to be given. If he has some kind of metric, what he tracks, what kind of product he has, some initial tractions and all, we definitely look into it. Founder who get into the trap of valuation as a journey, I have seen they are not going anywhere. They struggle a lot. They are not able to build their business. The people who are seen, valuation is a secondary thing. Definitely, it's a justifying also what I'm building and how. Look, at the end of the day, it's business. If there are more investors are interested in my business, definitely I will increase my valuation. But that should not be the metric. Metric should be, hey, what kind of value I am creating? What is my product? How's their traction? How the user, their DAO, their stickiness, their repeatability, what kind of my customer acquisition cost and all. So I think those should be the focus.
You are watching India.
Artemis 1 is NASA's effort for an